Getting hotter today compared to yesterday's. High temperatures reach into the low to mid 90s across the board, but the heat is about to get a little more intense as we head later in the week. How many days stand the chance of touching triple digits in the triangle? Coming up.
9, staying safe and cool. Construction and road crews are keeping an eye on the rising temperatures, the steps they're taking to keep themselves cool this week. Plus, no burn ban. That's despite the high temperatures and extremely dry conditions. Why officials say that they aren't taking that step just yet. We're following those stories and more here. WRAL News at 8 starts in 30 seconds.
At Leith Honda in Raleigh and Auto Park Honda in Cary, we make your buying process easy. And with every new car purchase, you'll enjoy complimentary oil changes and exceptional service. It's no wonder we've earned so many 5-star reviews. You'll also get peace of mind pricing with every used vehicle, and if it's not the perfect fit, no problem. Bring it back within 3 days for an easy exchange. Visit our showroom at Auto Park Honda in Cary or Leith Honda in Raleigh. It's easier here.
Your number one source for local news. This is WRAL, coverage you can count on.
All right, it's 8 a.m. here on your Tuesday morning. We have a lot to dive into here. I'm Laura Levine.
And I'm Destiny Patterson. We want to get you right over to meteorologist Chris Michaels in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Chris, we're really starting to crank up the heat a little bit.
Yeah, and especially later this week, it's just going to keep on cranking as we start out with a live look over Apex. Plenty of sunshine, nice and comfortable in the western part of Wake County. I say comfortable, and I use that term loosely. At least the dew points are not in the 70s like they were yesterday morning. They've come down into the mid 60s, which is still fairly humid, but it's manageable, and we'll continue to see those levels dropping into the afternoon. Right now, Cary, Clayton, Holly Springs, and Fuquay at 71. Durham's up to 74. Wake Forest and Rollsville at 69 degrees. So a nice morning for the dog walk. Will naturally warm up by midday. Temperatures are in the mid 80s. Afternoon highs today mostly 91 to 93 degrees, but there's potential for triple digit heat in parts of the area this holiday weekend. Which specific parts? We'll dive into that and also show you how many days see that potential. All that coming your way in a few minutes.
Chris, thank you. We have a situation brewing on the roads this morning here at I-40 as you're taking a look near Aviation Parkway, where we are seeing some congestion in this area, but also a crash has shut down 2 lanes on I-40 near Page Road in Durham County because, again, of a crash in that area. So we are seeing some backups and delays. This is a live camera and a live picture from DOT, so just keep that in mind. There's also some accidents that we're tracking in the Knightdale area on Poole and Hodge Road. That crash, it does involve someone that has received an injury. So, of course, we're going to keep you updated as soon as we learn more by tuning us in on the radio at 101.5 HD3. Raleigh police say a man fired shots into the air outside of an apartment complex overnight. The WRAL breaking news tracker was at the scene on St. Giles Street in Northwest Raleigh. We saw more than a dozen evidence markers on that ground there. Police say that this happened after an argument and no one was hurt. They also say that they have identified a suspect, but that person is not in custody.
Happening today, we will have an update on drought conditions in our area. City of Raleigh officials will speak with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers about the water levels at Falls Lake. Water levels have been dropping because of the drought. The Army Corps of Engineers says it's now the driest June on record at Falls Lake. As of the most recent update, there's a 64% of Raleigh's water supply pool left in Falls Lake. Raleigh water customers are currently under stage 1 restrictions. Water levels would have to dip to 45% to trigger stage 2.
NCDOT construction crews are now preparing to stay safe during the incoming heat wave this week. WRAL's Allie Catlavar joins us live from the Blue Ridge Road construction site. And Allie, those crews could be working in above 100-degree temperatures.
Miserable temperatures there, Laura. We are seeing out here so far some crews showing up to the construction site. We've seen those full brim hard hats that they're wearing with shades, as well as long sleeve, loose fitting cotton that'll protect them, keep them cool. Now, during the upcoming high heat, NCDOT says they encourage workers to take more breaks than usual. Crews will be wearing those long sleeves, loose fitting cotton shirts and cooling bandanas to keep their body temperatures down. NCDOT says sites have coolers for water, shade systems, misting fans, and heat stress response kits on hand. They have a person at each site responsible for taking care of crews' needs.
We're going to make sure our crews are seeing breaks they're going to be encouraged to go into air conditioning and their car, any in the shade, take extra breaks for water.
Yeah, and that goes the same for you. If you are working outside during this upcoming heat wave, you should drink plenty of water, especially electrolytes. Also take many breaks and take time to rest and recover. Reporting live in Raleigh, Ali Kadlabar, WRAL News.
Ali, thank you. And you can prepare for the extreme heat with the WRAL weather app. Make sure to turn on those push notifications so you can get important weather alerts sent right to your home screen. Fireworks will be going off, of course, across our area this weekend as we deal with those hot and dry conditions.
And that raises the question, why is there not a burn ban in place? WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is live in Raleigh this morning to talk about that specifically. Kelsey, officials say the fire risk is manageable for now.
Yes, Destiny, despite these dry conditions, officials say that now is not the time to make the call for a burn ban. Let's take you to some Drone 5 video that shows the low water level at Falls Lake right now. This captures just how serious this drought is. Phil Jackson with the NC Forest Service says our current conditions are different from what happened during the statewide burn ban earlier this year. Right now, we have humidity in the air. That helps plants hold moisture and makes them less likely to catch fire. Even though the fire risk is manageable for now, we should still be careful, especially with those 4th of July fireworks this weekend. Officials are reminding people to keep water close by just in case they need to douse out any flames in the event of an emergency. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Thanks, Kelsey. An investigation is happening after inmates briefly took over a jail in eastern North Carolina. This happened at the Bertie Martin Regional Jail in Windsor. The FBI and SBI are now trying to figure out exactly how the inmates took control. Investigators say there were 88 inmates and 3 guards inside the jail when this all started around 5 a.m. yesterday. One of the guards escaped while the other 2 were taken hostage. Both guards were removed safely. Within a few hours, all of the inmates were out of the jail. The Bertie County Sheriff says his office will lead this investigation.
There's a lot of questions about the conditions of the jail. There are a lot of questions about staffing at the jail. And those are things that I do not have because I'm not over the jail. But as the investigation goes on, we will unfold those things, and we will, as always, be transparent with the public.
For now, the jail is closed while staff assess damage to the building. The 88 inmates have been moved to other facilities in the meantime.
A road rage murder trial is on hold in Wake County now as lawyers argue over the relevance of the suspect's immigration status to the case. The trial of Josue Quintanilla Reyes was supposed to start yesterday. His lawyers don't want his immigration status used against him. He's accused of being in this country illegally before killing Ricardo Cardenas in a road rage shooting on I-40. The victim's family says this delay came as a shock.
We think about my brother every day, especially because the person that he was. It's just a little tough.
It's not clear how long the appeals process will take or when a new trial date could be set.
Happening today, U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff will be in Qatar for talks with Iran. Witkoff made the trip yesterday ahead of today's scheduled meeting. However, Iran says there are no meetings with the U.S. scheduled at any level in the coming days. This comes after both sides agreed to stop exchanging strikes over the weekend. Speaking at the White House yesterday, President Trump seemed unsure of what will come of the reported meeting.
Meeting in Doha is going to be perhaps important, perhaps not. We're going to find out. But we're winning militarily. It's almost won militarily, I would say. And it's really very simple. It's the denuclearization of Iran. We don't want them to have a nuclear weapon, and they're not going to have a nuclear weapon. They've agreed to that, in all fairness.
An Iranian spokesperson told state media that the government is working on making changes to the agreement rather than focusing on anything final.
Trips to the store could soon be getting a little cheaper for some North Carolinians. This morning, state lawmakers will discuss a bill that would eliminate state taxes on tampons, diapers, and baby wipes. Taxes on those products generate an estimated $50 million for the state. WRAL state government reporter Paul Space says the sponsor of the bill believes lifting this tax will help North Carolina families.
The bill sponsor, Mike Sheetselt, is a Republican from Wake County. He considers himself a pro-life Republican, and he sees this bill as being pro-life because it lifts a burden on new families when they have to buy diapers or baby wipes. So he hopes to get enough support in the House and the Senate before they take their break for the summer.
Follow along with the bill's progress under the NC Capitol section of WRAL.com.
Coming up, death by distribution. Prosecutors hope to use a relatively new law to hold an accused drug dealer accountable for an overdose by proving the charge in court. Could be difficult.
And taking flight, millions of people are expected to travel this week for July 4th. We have a look at the busiest times for airports and how RDU is getting ready.
And extreme heat warnings, they're only issued once or twice per year in our part of the state, but we could wind up seeing those 1 or 2 times as we head into the holiday weekend. I'll show you which days stand that chance coming up. .13, happy Tuesdays. We give you a live look at the DBAP where we've got another homestand that starts today, and we're starting out nice and sunny over the ballpark where currently temperatures are at 75 degrees. Raleigh, Clayton, and Morrisville 73 degrees. Right now it's 70 in Garner, Knightdale, Wake Forest, and Chapel Hill. A little hotter today compared to yesterday, only by a few degrees, and it's manageable heat because the humidity, at least in the triangle, won't be overbearing this afternoon. High temperatures, meanwhile, reach into the low 90s. So the risk for heat-related illness today is low, but you see how it gradually starts to go up later this week and especially into the holiday weekend. We'll show you how many days stand the chance of touching 100 degrees in the triangle and in the Sandhills, and how many straight days we could wind up seeing that coming up.
Okay, Chris, thank you. Taking a live look at the roads, we're monitoring a jam session here on I-40 at Aviation where you can really see that congestion building. Right now, we're also tracking a crash that has shut down 2 lanes heading west on I-40 in Durham County near the Page Road exit. So if you're traveling to Durham, just be mindful of that situation right now. Again, 2 lanes shut down heading west I-40 at Page Road. We're also tracking a crash on Capitol Boulevard, the northbound lanes heading towards Durant Road. That is a crash with injuries that we're tracking as well. Overall drive times heading into the capital city, we have a 11-minute delay if you're heading from Apex into Raleigh, a 6-minute delay if you're traveling from Knightdale, 5 minutes if you're traveling from Wake Forest. Of course, be sure to tune us in on the radio at 101.5 HD3. A Johnson County man accused of selling drugs that killed a man in 2023 is now on trial in Orange County. Jeremiah Hargrove was arrested after the victim, Dolise Momo, died from a fentanyl overdose. Hargrove is accused of selling him the drugs. The General Assembly enacted the death by distribution law back in 2019. It makes selling a controlled substance that causes someone's death a felony. Retired Superior Court Judge Carl Fox explains why these cases are difficult to prosecute.
You have a little bit of difficulty because the main person you need is deceased. So you only have that person and the person who made the sale. So unless you have someone who was around, who was a witness to the sale, but they are, by their very nature, difficult cases.
This is just the 7th case in Orange County. Hargrove faces up to 6 years in prison if convicted. DHHS reports a 23% decrease in drug overdoses so far this year. The agency is also reporting a drop in fentanyl-related deaths. It mirrors a national trend where we have seen overdoses drop 3 straight years.
2 former NBA players are the latest to be charged in a gambling investigation. One of them is a former UNC player. Ed Davis played for UNC from 2008 to 2010, winning a national championship with them in 2009. According to prosecutors, he placed bets on NBA player Malik Beasley in 2024. Beasley is accused of adjusting his performance based on those bets. In total, 6 people are facing charges in this investigation. Fayetteville and Cumberland County are getting more time to figure out next steps for emergency communications. They're under pressure from the state to combine their 911 communication services. The county says state lawmakers are giving local leaders another week and a half to work out a plan.
A landmark bill now that aims to protect children online is one step closer to becoming reality. The U.S. House passed the Kids Internet and Digital Safety Act. also known as the Kids Act, with bipartisan support. The bill would require online platforms to create safeguards for minors. It also limits access to sexual material, gives parents controls on social media and video game platforms, and requires AI chatbots to tell minors that it is not human. The bill will now head to the Senate, where lawmakers have already passed a similar version. We are just days away from all of the big America 250 celebrations here and at our nation's capital. Local and federal officials are putting the finishing touches on preparations in Washington, D.C. Yesterday, crews were out at the Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool, setting up for the fireworks show. The Secret Service says the National Mall is preparing for up to 150,000 people this weekend.
Oh, that's a lot. Now, if you're heading out of town this holiday weekend, it's expected to be a busy one, both on the roads and in the air. The TSA expects to screen 133,000 passengers at RDU between July 2nd and the 6th. The busiest travel days are expected to be this Thursday and next Sunday and Monday. TSA is increasing staff and reminding people to get to the airport earlier than usual. That'll help to ease the stress.
Our peak travel times are early in the morning, 5 a.m. to 7 a.m., and in the afternoon from 3 to 5 p.m. We are staffed to manage our wait time standards. That's 10 minutes or less for TSA pre-check, 30 minutes or less for standard screening.
Of the preparations, the TSA has canines ready to patrol to look for explosives. Now, if you're hitting the road, let's take a look at those gas prices. New data this morning from AAA shows the average in Raleigh is $3.51. Down in Wilmington, it's $3.47. And out in Asheville, it's $3.62.
It is time for the FIFA World Cup score of the day. The Netherlands are out of the tournament after Morocco beat them on penalty kicks at the end of regulation. Morocco moves on to face Canada on Saturday. 3 more teams will advance in the FIFA World Cup today, and all the games are on Fox 50. At 1, Ivory Coast plays Norway. At 5, it's France and Sweden. And at 9, it'll be Mexico and Ecuador.
Fans and players are trying to stay cool this week at the Cary Tennis Classic. Plenty of shade is available for fans who want to brave the heat and watch the tournament. Pro men and women from all over the world are competing in this event through Sunday. If temperatures rise, though, above a certain level, there are regulations in place that will trigger a 10-minute delay in the action. If the temperatures keep rising, then they will stop playing to make sure that they're keeping the players.
We're constantly making ice bags. Our team is constantly making ice bags and ice towels that the players can put around their neck. So we're creating things for the players when they're playing in these conditions, even on a day like today. I mean, they're running around. It's a nice day for the South, but it's still hot out there if you're on the court with the being on the asphalt courts with the reflection of the heat.
Now, the Cary Tennis Classic, it's been going strong since 2015. I'm glad that they're able to continue that legacy, despite the heat.
Oh, absolutely. Let's check back in with meteorologist Chris Michaels with that in mind.
Yeah.
Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. We cannot tell people that enough right now.
Yeah, and look, it's supposed to get hot in the summertime in North Carolina, but this is just, it deserves a little bit of your extra attention.
Right.
Just it's more intense heat. That's the way it goes. All right, let's take you out to Chapel Hill right now, where temperatures are starting in the low to mid 70s. The dew point in the triangle down into the mid 60s. We can handle that, right? Yesterday it was a lot higher, it was a lot muggier. So as we go toward midday, yes, we're still going to get warm. We'll be in the mid 80s right at around lunchtime, with high temperatures this afternoon about 91 to 93. In the triangle, we've already hit 90 degrees 26 times this year, so it's something we've pretty much gotten used to, and today is more of a tolerable and a manageable heat. Fayetteville 94, Rocky Mount at about 90 degrees this afternoon. However, as we head later in the week is when the heat gets a little more intense. This area of high pressure, it just basically takes over the eastern 2/3 of the U.S. is going to get stronger. So as it does so, the air beneath it gets hotter. And that's why you see all these heat alerts that have been issued from the Gulf Coast to the Great Lakes, from the Great Plains to New England. Now, it may take a little bit of time before we see some of those heat alerts, but by later this week, I anticipate that we will from the National Weather Service. Independence Day, 90 degrees already at 11 o'clock in the morning, with temperatures at or above 100, especially in the Triangle and Sand Hills. As Laura was saying, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. According to the National Academy of Sports Medicine, men need 16 cups of water per day. Women need 12 cups, and you need those electrolytes, especially if you're going to be spending a lot of energy and time outside. As you do so, very hot Thursday through Monday. Your forecast high temperatures near or above triple digits and overnight lows in the mid to upper 70s.
Okay, Chris, thank you. Taking a live look at the road conditions here at I-40 at Aviation. We've been keeping our eyes on that crash near Page Road in Durham County, where we know a crash shut down 2 lanes heading west there. We're also getting reports of a new crash that popped up on I-40 near Harrison Avenue in Cary. So again, just be mindful. There is some congestion building, but overall drive times still look nice with about a 5-minute delay that we're tracking there right now. So be sure to tune us in on the radio as you're heading out the door at 101.5 HD3. Filling up your plate of 4th of July celebration would not be complete without good food. 5 on Your Side shows us what you'll pay more for this year and where you could save big.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio in Raleigh on 99.3 FM, in Durham 96.5 FM, and everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning, everyone. The time now is 8:26 here on your Tuesday morning. I'm Laura Levine. Let's get right over to meteorologist Chris Michaels tracking the hot temperatures ahead. Chris.
Yeah, today's kind of a manageable heat as we see a mostly sunny sky and temperatures reaching into the low to perhaps mid-90s. Humidity levels will at least be manageable today. Heat wave still likely late this week into the weekend, at which point we see the potential for high temperatures near or just slightly above 100 degrees in the Triangle and in the Sandhills. Something we've already done 3 times in the Triangle, the record 12 times in 1999. But we'll show you how many days we see that chance of hitting the century mark on Fox 50 starting at 8:30.
Tracking your commute this morning, we are tracking that crash on I-40 near Page Road in Durham County, where a crash has shut down 2 lanes heading west there. Here at I-40 at Aviation Parkway now, where you're taking a live look, you can see a little bit of congestion with traffic picking up. But overall, we're not seeing any major backups or delays in this area. We're also tracking an accident on I-40 near Harrison Avenue. So just be mindful if you're traveling within these areas that there's a little bit of a slowdown, but again, no major delays at this time. Be sure to tune us in on the radio at 101.5 HD3. Raleigh police say a man fired shots into the air outside of an apartment complex overnight. This happened on St. Giles Street in Northwest Raleigh. Police say that it happened after an argument and no one was hurt. They also say that they have identified the suspect, but that person is not in custody. Happening today, we will get an update on the water levels at Falls Lake. As of the most recent update, there is 64% of Raleigh's water supply pool left in Falls Lake. Water levels would have to dip to 45% to trigger Stage 2 restrictions. Coming up next on Fox 50 now, why the North Carolina Forest Service says they are not considering a burn ban amid the drought.
Live from WRAL News headquarters in Raleigh, your #1 source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Now we're tracking an incoming heat wave. Today the heat is manageable, but as we head later in the week, it becomes a little less manageable. And we're going to show you just how many days stand the chance of hitting 100 degrees coming up.
Preparing for the heat, construction crews in our area will be in extreme heat this week. How they're planning to stay cool and hydrated.
And jail takeover in Eastern North Carolina jail is closed today after inmates seized control. The investigation into how they were able to do so.
Still a lot of questions about that one. Thanks so much for staying with us here on Fox 50. I'm Destiny Patterson.
And I'm Laura Levine. We're going to dive on into all of those stories. But first, we have to talk about the biggest story of the week, the heat. Meteorologist Chris Michaels tracking that with a look over Fayetteville this morning.
Yeah, plenty of sunshine across the board. It's a fairly nice start to the morning as we give you that live look over Fayetteville, where temperatures are currently starting in the 70s. 73 current temperature in the Triangle, dew point in the mid-60s. So it's still muggy out there, but it could certainly be a lot worse. And looks like it will potentially get to that level later in the week. Fayetteville's at 74, Clinton 75, Goldsboro 71. A happy Tuesday to you as we're tracking a pretty nice day. Today we're in the mid-80s by lunchtime. As we settle into the afternoon, high temperatures for most of you between 91 and 93 degrees. We expect that at the end of June, but what you don't love to see is the high temperatures near or above 100 degrees. Now, that mainly pertains to the Triangle and Sandhills later this week. We'll show you how many times we expect to hit that and when the last time it is that we saw a stretch quite that hot, coming up in a few minutes.
Okay, Chris, thank you. Taking a look at those road conditions, we are beginning to see traffic really pick up here at 8:30 on your Tuesday morning. Here at I-40 at Aviation Parkways, where we saw some congestion earlier this morning, but you can see that traffic is moving nice and smoothly. We were tracking a crash that shut down 2 lanes heading west in Durham County at I-40 at Page Road, so just be mindful if you're heading in that area. Another major incident that we're tracking right now, Nightdale Police responding to this one on Page Road, Hodge Road, as well as our photographer is at the scene there. Again, Nightdale Pool Road, I should say, where crews are there responding to a serious crash, working to gather more details about this investigation, what happened, and the condition of the people involved. As soon as we learn more, we'll be sure to update you. 101.5 HD3 is how you can tune us in. Well, Raleigh police say a man fired shots into the air outside an apartment complex overnight. The WRAL breaking news tracker was at the scene on St. Giles Street in Northwest Raleigh. We saw more than a dozen evidence markers on the ground. Police say this happened after an argument and no one was hurt. They also have identified the suspect, but that person is not in custody.
Police in Raleigh are looking for a driver who hit a person on a bicycle and drove off. That crash happened on Western Boulevard near Gorman Street at about 9:30 last night. This is video from the WRAL breaking news tracker, and you can see the damage to that bicycle. The driver is expected to be okay. Raleigh police have not released any information about a possible suspect or even a vehicle description at this point.
The SBI and FBI are now investigating how inmates were able to take control of a jail in eastern North Carolina. Investigators say there were 88 inmates and 3 guards inside the Bertie Martin Regional Jail when this all began around 5 a.m. yesterday. One of the guards escaped and the other 2 were taken hostage. Both guards were removed safely. 80 inmates were out of the jail by noon, and then the remaining 8 were out of jail just a few hours later from that situation. The Bertie County Sheriff says his office will lead the investigation.
Well, DOT crews, they will be out in the extreme heat this week and they're trying to make sure that they are safe out there. WRAL's Ali Caldabar joins us live from a construction site on Blue Ridge Road in Raleigh. Ali, crews could be working in triple-digit heat.
Yeah, miserable temperatures. Right now it's pretty cool, and that's where we're seeing construction crews. You can see they have their full brim construction hats on, some shades. They're also wearing those long sleeve, loose fitting cotton shirts as well. And NCDOT says they will be working during the coolest parts of the day to avoid the forecasted high heat. They encourage workers to take frequent breaks in their cars with AC or in the shade. Crews will be wearing cooling bandanas constantly to keep their body temperatures down. NCDOT says sites have coolers for water, shade systems, also misting fans, and heat stress response kits on hand. They have a person at each site responsible for taking care of crews' needs. NCDOT says they shift schedules to the safest times of the day.
We are going to move work earlier into the day so that they get the majority of their work done before the high heat of the day.
And if you have to work outside too, you should probably do the same if you can. Also, take those frequent breaks, drink electrolytes as much as you can, and also rest and recover. Reporting live in Raleigh, Ali Cadlabar, WRAL News.
Well, fireworks will be going off across our area this weekend, of course, as we deal with those hot and dry conditions. That raises the question, why is there not a burn ban in place? WRAL's Kelsey Coffey explains why officials say the fire risk is manageable for now.
Despite these dry conditions, officials say now is not the time to make the call for a burn ban. Let's take you straight to Drone 5 video that shows the low water level at Falls Lake. This captures how serious this drought is. Phil Jackson with the NC Forest Service says our current conditions are different from what happened during the statewide burn ban earlier this year. Right now, we have humidity in the air. That helps plants hold moisture and makes them less likely to catch fire. Even though the fire risk is manageable now, you should still be careful.
We're still dry, fire danger is still high, but we haven't reached that hazardous category yet.
You should definitely keep fire danger in mind with those 4th of July fireworks this weekend. Officials are reminding people to keep water nearby just in case they may have to douse out any flames during an emergency. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Raleigh.
And you can track the rising temperatures with the WRAL weather app. Make sure to turn on those push notifications so you can get important weather alerts sent right to your home screen.
Down the state legislative building, North Carolina lawmakers are reviewing drafts of the state budget as they prepare to vote on that spending plan this week. Most state employees would receive a 3% raise under the plan, along with one-time bonuses scaled by salary. Teachers are also set for raises. Early career educators would get bigger raises. Public safety workers would see some of the biggest gains in the proposal. For more on the budget discussions and what's in and out of the bill, head to the NC Capitol section of WRAL.com. Today, an attorney for St. Augustine's University will ask a judge to approve additional funding. The university needs to borrow more money to keep operating. A bankruptcy hearing is scheduled for 10 this morning. The university filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy earlier this year. Today, people in Person County will address Microsoft about the company's plans for a data center. A community meeting is scheduled today at Piedmont Community College in Roxborough. Microsoft has plans to build a data center campus on a mega site in Woodsdale Township on the Virginia border. The company says it will not use traditional water-intensive cooling methods, but clean water advocates are skeptical about the plan. Today's meeting starts at 4 p.m.
The search for survivors after the devastating earthquakes in Venezuela has entered a critical phase. New video now this morning shows some of those dramatic efforts. New video posted to X shows a rescue team from Ecuador pulling a 12-year-old boy from under the rubble. The footage shows the rescuers freeing the boy and lifting him away on a stretcher. The post did not include any update to his condition after he was rescued. And this video here, shared by Jordan Civil Defense, shows rescuers from that country pulling a 3-year-old boy out alive. The rescue team says the boy was trapped under a destroyed house. They said that the child was given first aid and taken to the nearest hospital. More than 1,700 people have been confirmed dead since the two quakes hit about a week ago. North Carolina-based Samaritan's Purse is just about finished with their emergency field hospital in Venezuela. Samaritan's Purse just completed their second airlift to the country. It's brought more than 196,000 pounds of critical supplies. Meanwhile, a canine from the NC Troopers Association Canine Search and Recovery Team is on the ground there. Joey and his handler Athena are working alongside Nash County Deputy Jack Thorpe and canine teams from Canada. You can see Joey searching the rubble in these pictures here, shared by the Sheriff's Office.
More rulings from the Supreme Court are expected today, including one on transgender sports bans. The court will rule on laws in Idaho and West Virginia that prohibit transgender girls from competing on girls' sports teams. The justices heard arguments in the two cases in January. They signaled they would likely allow the state laws to stand. The court will also hand down rulings on birthright citizenship. The case came up after President Trump's executive order to limit birthright citizenship. They will also decide on a case involving campaign finance limits.
Wake County prosecutors have added a new charge against a man accused of abusing his 2-year-old. Karan Pasanuri is now charged with attempted murder. Police first arrested him last week for child abuse after the toddler was treated for severe injuries, including a fractured spine. Pasanuri is being held without bond.
Your time now, 8:40. Celebration costs. The price tag for food is up for the 4th of July holiday. 5 on your side explains just how much more you'll pay.
And walking with a purpose. A Florida man is in North Carolina after walking more than 10,000 miles. How his cross-country trek is helping others.
Spanning across much of the country, you see heat alerts ranging from the Great Lakes to New England and from the Great Plains to the Gulf Coast. I'll show you when we could see some of those similar heat alerts in effect for our area coming up. (8:44), we have an update on the tropics for those of you beachgoers ahead of the 4th of July weekend. A lot of folks have been asking some questions about this. there's not much going on with it. It's just a 10% chance of tropical development, so that's at least good news for your plans. Local impact, highly unlikely, and if you do see any impact along the coast, it might be like an increased rip current or surf, but aside from that, yeah, any kind of rain that would ruin your beach plans, that is not happening. You just kind of see how that's going to stall out and move to the south and west and maybe make things breezy along the coast, but again, that's really about it. So in the meantime, if you're getting a head start, rip current is low to moderate all up and down the coast. That'll be the best place to be during this upcoming heat wave. I'll show you which parts of our area could reach 100 degrees and how often that happens in less than 5 minutes.
All right, happening now in the traffic center, we are tracking a few incidents. I want to start with this live picture from the WRAL breaking news tracker. Photojournalist Michael Joyner there at the scene on Pool Road, where crews are responding to a pretty serious crash. We have learned in the last few minutes from State Highway Patrol that 2 vehicles were involved in this crash. A Toyota Camry driver crossed the center lane and struck the dump truck there. The truck driver has minor injuries, and the driver of the Toyota had serious injuries. So again, that's new information coming from photojournalist Michael Joyner there at the scene. Pool Road there is shut down. That section of Pool Road is shut down right where that construction area is. We also have a live look at road conditions elsewhere. Here is a live look at I-40 at Carytown Boulevard, where you can see traffic moving nice and smoothly here in this area. Not tracking any major backups or delays at this time. You have a less than 5-minute commute if you're traveling into the capital city.
Thanks, Laura. The St. Augustine's University community is mourning after former President Emeritus Prezell Robinson died yesterday. He was 105. He served the school for nearly 3 decades. Robinson's life and legacy will be honored with 2 services. A memorial service will be held July 10th at the University Chapel. A celebration of life and funeral will take place on Saturday, July 11th at St. Ambrose Episcopal Church.
Happening today, Lumbee Tribal Chairman John Lowry will give his State of the Tribe address. He plans to share information about the tribal budget, federal recognition, and other topics. The address comes just 1 week after plans for a casino near I-95 took a hit. Tribal members voted against a plan over concerns about how gaming decisions would be handled. The address is scheduled for 6 tonight.
Well, prepare to shell out more for your 4th of July celebrations. 5 on your side's Keely Arthur shares how much you can expect to pay for those good cookout foods.
The National Retail Federation projects consumers are expected to spend on average $94.41 for 4th of July celebrations. That's a record, up $2 from last year. Here's a look at some of the most notable increases. 2 pints of strawberries are up 12.4% from last year. Hamburger buns just under 8%, and 2 pounds of ground beef up 5.5%, plus a half gallon of ice cream up 5.3%. But that's not all bad. Remember last year when we were talking about egg prices? Well, those prices are down. Same with potatoes, meaning those staple ingredients for the very yummy potato salad will cost less than 18% from last year. The survey indicates Americans are also likely spending more this year, specifically due to the World Cup and America's 250th birthday. Keely Arthur, 5 on your side.
Mail-in ballots can still be counted after Election Day. That comes after a Supreme Court ruling on this matter. The Supreme Court upheld a Mississippi law that allows election officials to count mail-in ballots that are postmarked by Election Day but are received up to 5 days later. 18 states and territories have similar grace periods.
And starting tomorrow, millions of Medicare enrollees will receive coverage for weight loss under a temporary pilot program. Now, under the plan, qualified Part D enrollees will pay $50 for a month's supply. Enrollees are not eligible if they are already receiving GLP-1 medications through their Medicare Part D drug plan or have specific health issues. That includes type 2 diabetes. Drug makers say they have enough supply to meet the new demand.
A Florida man who is walking across the country now to promote mental health awareness is passing through North Carolina. We're talking about Kendall Edwards, who is in the New Bern area for his trek across America. He said the idea took shape while he was serving his last prison sentence and began on January 1st of 2022, less than 2 months after he was released.
I have overdosed. I've been in county jail 11 times, in prison twice. Now I'm over 7 years drug-free, over 10,700 miles walked, to tell people that they matter and to spread light, love, kindness, and positivity everywhere I go.
Love it. Well, the journey is a fundraiser for the nonprofit group Never Alone Recovery, which supports people with addiction and mental health challenges.
Well, it's time for a look at what's trending. Let's start off with a big one.
Yes.
New clues about Taylor Swift's wedding. You know, everybody cares about that.
So much speculation. Well, get this. We are just days away from Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's rumored wedding, and barricades are now up around Madison Square Garden, where the two are expected to tie the knot. A source tells NBC News that 1,100 guests are planning to attend the wedding festivities this Friday at the famous venue. And invitees, of course, were required to sign NDAs. NBC News reached out to Swift, Kelce, and MSG for more details, but we have not heard back.
I couldn't even imagine 1,100 people.
Yeah, I have maybe 200 coming to my wedding, so.
Yeah, and that's a lot.
Yeah.
I could not even imagine having to manage all of those people. But it's going to be a celebration for the ages, I'm sure.
It will be, and multiple performers are expected to be there, so it's going to feel like a concert. Chris, I know that you're jealous. You want to be in attendance for that, I know.
No, I don't like that many people, so. No, I'd rather stay right here. So long as the views are like this, I'll take it. Check it out. This is a picture from Jill at Banner Elk, and a great view of the full strawberry moon there in the North Carolina high country. Something they had a hard time seeing out in the Rockies. Let me show you why. They've been battling wildfires out there that have been growing very quickly due to the dry conditions, the high heat that they're seeing out there, also some gusty wind that you tend to see in the Rockies. Not sure if we have that video or not, but that is what's going on out there. Let's bring you back home. Temperatures low to mid 70s. Raleigh's at 73, Clinton at 76, Fayetteville 74, Rocky Mount at 72. So far, nice start to your morning with temperatures continuing to gradually climb. We'll see Raleigh with a high of 92 this afternoon. Sanford and Fayetteville at about 94, Lewisburg 91, and Roanoke Rapids at about 88 degrees. So definitely going to be a hot one out there. We've hit 90 degrees 26 times already this year in the Triangle, but this is manageable heat. This we can at least tolerate. It is the end of June. You expect it to be hot. And as dew points fall into the 50s in the Triangle today, it'll at least feel less humid than it has in recent days. But that may not necessarily be the case moving forward. Heading into tomorrow, high temperatures mid to maybe upper 90s, especially if we get a little bit more of a breeze. By Thursday, that's when we start to see these near record high temperatures, which in early July is saying something because the records are 101. Friday and Saturday in the Triangle, in the Sandhills at or slightly above 100 degrees, and we could see that into early next week. Last time we had 5 straight days at the triple-digit mark in Raleigh was in 2012. So again, yeah, it is summer. It is supposed to be hot, but this is particularly intense and it could last for days at a time. So just be careful out there. Temperatures will rise in the mornings as well as we see more humidity. We'll be in the 70s for morning lows. Afternoon temperatures, again, upper 90s and lower triple digits. Scattered storms part of the forecast Sunday and Monday, but hopefully after that, we'll see the heat wave crash heading into much of next week.
Okay, Chris, thank you. We're getting a different vantage point of that crash we've been following this morning on Pool Road near Knightdale, where crews are here on the scene investigating a pretty serious crash. We've learned in the last half hour from State Highway Patrol that 2 vehicles were involved in this crash. A Toyota Camry driver crossed the center lane and struck a dump truck. The truck driver has minor injuries, and the Toyota driver had some pretty serious injuries from this crash. So still working to gather more details. But again, that's the latest information that we're following from this scene. And we will have more details, of course, in the 9 o'clock hour.
Thanks, Laura, for that update. And before we go to break, here are your winning lottery numbers. We'll get that up. And we'll also have a check on weather. And of course, we'll check back in on that crash.